Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I am Madcapper and there's another video on Raid Shadow Legends. As you can see, I have the video up, which is the exclusive interview with Cirilla, Scratch interviewing Cirilla, and just about the quote-unquote the future of Raid, what's going to happen in Raid going forward, and some questions that were kind of brought in from the community. Scratch tossed them up and Cirilla dodged them like a game of dodgeball. She might be in the sequel. I'm going to react to it. I mean, I've already heard it, but I'm going to reiterate. I had another video that I was going to do, but I think this leans into it very well, and I'll let you know at the end what that video was about briefly. And so let's just get into it with the very first one. Now, this is in chapters, so I'm not going to play the whole thing. You can absolutely listen to that. I will leave a link, pinned comment down below, but here we go.
Waiting, and that will be the energy issues, right? Like, I feel like we got a lot of new content, which is great, but unfortunately the majority of the people are not very excited for it, and mainly it does have to do with the energy cap that was not increased, and it became much harder to be able to complete content daily and to kind of like decide, okay, where am I gonna use my energy now, you know? Are there any sort of plans to increase the daily energy cap or to increase the amount of energy players receive daily?
Yeah, that's also me waiting around for a nice comment under my videos with interviews. But yeah, I know that it's a very painful subject for a lot of players, and it has been for a very long time. But you see, we are more inclined to actually give energy in rewards. In all kinds of places around the game, rather than just increase the cap and make the regeneration aspect the prevalent one.
All right, let me react to this. The whole thing is just... So, I do agree that this game gives a good amount of energy. There's energy available from quests, there's tournaments, there's events. They don't give a lot. I do find that the tournaments ones are hilarious because it's usually 75, and it usually costs you about 80 energy or more, depending on RNG, to get it. Like, for example, you see Scratch running those runs. Those runs are 20 each. 4 runs gets you 4 pieces, which I think is enough to get to or pretty close to the first reward. So it's not like you get energy there, but I will say that overall, you typically have 800 to 1,000 energy a day that you just get between daily login. You can buy it from the once a week. You can buy it from 3v3, from the bazaar. You can get it from advanced quests as well as quests and the login time thing. So I do agree there's a lot of free energy, and I won't disparage them that point. But for the free-to-play, for the micromanager, for the one who really dials in, the fact that you can only do 5 runs of any of the endgame content right now before you run out of energy without having to stock up is incredulous. And the fact that if it's so unimportant, if you still want the energy giveaway to be the prevalent, changing it to 160 or 180 isn't going to change that. It's not going to change that people still want more energy than that. But at least for those who dial into the game, and it's not just free to play. I watch, like Chosen is always under cap. Always, it's every strong micromanaged player that really tunes in, really efficiency. I shouldn't say micromanaged, efficient, wants that energy to tick up. And it would equate to another, couple hundred energy a day because you can't do it while you're sleeping, that sort of thing. Maybe. I just think it would be it's such a soft toss to give to us that they won't. But let's move to the next question, which is the Iron Twins and Hydra rewards rebalance.
And Hydra rewards. So we're going to need you guys to head over to the Raid Shadow Legends Discord channel.
They just want you to make memes.
A bit later.
So the drop rates for Essence are very low as well. Are you guys planning to buff the rewards on the Iron Twins Fortress?
Yeah, so the first thing we need to remember about this one is that Iron Fortress is not the only source of getting those.
But it should be the primary source of getting those. The Iron Twin gives one thing and one thing only, and that's soul stones. Well, and it's essences and stuff. So shouldn't that be the primary place to get it? That would be akin to saying, well, I know that you run for speed gear and among other things in the Dragon, but you can also get speed gear somewhere else. And that secondary location is actually where you get more speed gear than you do from doing 100 runs in the Dragon. It would be ludicrous. It would be silly. This is where Iron Twins is where you should get the majority. If they wanted people to do Hydra, they incentivized it. I thought it was a great change. You can get, I think, anywhere from 15 to 25 soul stones. I feel like I don't get that much. Maybe it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Maybe 8 to 10. 12, I think, is maybe the max if you get really good RNG. But the primary source of soul stones should be this fortress. That's why you put it in the game. That was the whole mechanic of getting it. So if you can get 12 soul stones from the from the Hydra, where the primary point of the Hydra was to A, get Mithrala, and B, get protection and stone skin. That was the purpose of Hydra. This is the purpose of this. If you're gonna say no, this is just one place that you can get it, then add something else to this. Make the Iron Twins give us books. Make the Iron Twins give us scrolls. Why not? Like, what's stopping you from giving? Because if that's what you're gonna do, then where's the incentive of spending 20 energy and a key per run? If you get 6 keys, you get 1 soul stone. If you're spending money, you can get 2. Now, keep in mind, gems is money. To me, gems equals dollars. It's a direct relational piece. So if you can get that second key, you have to spend money to do it. And there are way too many things that I think are more important to spend money on, like energy for dragon runs, like being able to use that to buy enough energy to go through your Minotaur runs, those sort of things, right? Shards, if there was a 2 times and you're close to pity, right? Top up your shards just to make sure you get that legendary champion. What it shouldn't be is you shouldn't have the feature content for a resource not give you the most of the resource. And currently, it doesn't. If you run normally and you don't spend any extra money, you can get, well, I guess it's equal. You can get it equal to the Hydra because you can get roughly 1 a day. Some days you get a little overflow, some days you don't. So that's 6 Monday through Saturday, and then it doubles on Sunday, so you can get 2. And then if you buy, then you can get 4. Maybe you can get so I would say it's actually 8 to 10, really. 8 to 10 without spending, depending on your RNG. And every once in a while, you get a fleck of the others. Now, the other thing she'll say here is that you can also get these soul stones by purchasing them you can get them, but those go up by increments of 1. So I have to get say I get a 4-star, like I have an Etha, or I have a Foley right now that's a 4-star. He was a 2. I pulled the 4, so do I get the 2 back? Actually, I do. I do get gold back, I believe. It gave me 80. I think it gave me 86 of some type of monetization. I don't know. There's so many different currencies in this game. So, the reality here is I then have to buy 5 and 6, which is 100 and 300 respectively of the gold essences. To get 400 gold essences, you have to open up a whole lot and feed a lot. It just isn't there. It just isn't available. Now, also keep in mind that you then have to decide with those higher level, the gold, if you want to convert them to immortal soul stones, not the eternal ones, the middle ones, or into essences. And then if you turn it, like I'd never use the highest level ones into essences. I'd always turn them into an eternal stone. I believe that's the highest level one, because at least then I have a chance for 5 or 6 star epic or legendary. That's my best odds of getting it. And that's actually how I got 2 of my 5 stars and 1 of my 6 stars. And a 4th one was actually a dupe that I already had 6 starred, and it gave me a 5-star, the exact same champion. Thanks. But that's the only recourse, or to buy. And keep in mind, I've bought 80, and I have 1 at Saito, and I have 2. I have Rowan and Whisper. Whisper is the only one of those 3 that I use, and that's playing every day. That's doing these almost every day. It's not good. It's not good. At the end of the day, this should be your primary focus. And the other one just talks about how many he gives in Hydra. I get that you're probably not going to see better soulstone. So let's go to summoning rates now. The reality is that's not going to change. And it's unfortunate because I think the soulstones, this is what it comes down to. This is what I would have respected more to hear. We're not going to change soulstones because it's still a path of revenue for us. and we need paths of revenue to continue to build this game. And shards have become less of a revenue for us, so we need something else to fill in the gap. That's the answer. That's the answer that you'll get.
This is,
I like this one.
yeah, it's a good one, right? Like, look at that big chicken there. Like, it would serve a.
By the way, I used that same chicken meme like 10 years ago as my as my avatar in a BBS somewhere, or a board. What do they call it? I don't know. Some forum somewhere. I used that like a decade ago. It's amazing. It's one of the best. Like, there's so many memes available for that.
Nice dinner, but not so good in raid when you end up with it. So we're
Actually, a rooster.
Yeah, a rooster. Yeah, let's not discriminate the rooster in here.
Discriminate.
But the next topic is kind of like drop rates for champions, right? So the summoning events, the summoning chances are very stale after such a long time. Considering that we have over 700 champions, the game is like almost 5 years old now, you know? So I feel like the events and
there's I think close to 900 champions now. 700 champions has come and gone.
Stuff like this, they need some sort of innovation. Maybe better chances to summon legendaries, some sort of a solution for the 10x events. Do you guys plan to improve anything related to the summoning events in the near future?
Yeah, so we actually have a couple of those already ready, and one of them is going to appear in the game sooner than you think, even. Yeah, we definitely understand that this is a problem, especially considering the fact that you've already mentioned that there are just too many champions. I can't say too many.
There's never too many. There's never too many.
Like,
keep on bringing them because it's amazing.
Our champions. Yeah, but we do understand that the more champions we release, and they're actually good ones, all of them, the more players want to get them, and we have to give them the opportunity to do that. So yeah, the first one is really around the corner, and you will see it very soon.
That's all.
Okay, so they are adding. They said a couple of different events around summoning, but they didn't say what. They didn't say boosted rates, different boosted rates. All they said was around summoning. Now, they're not going to give you a better chance of getting a legendary. I promise you that. Guaranteed, they have pumped that up. It started, like, they go into, I think, you know, it started like 110, now it's 150 for voids or whatever it is. They or 90 to 130. I don't remember. They've boosted everything up. They've already pushed that. The buy one get one. They've gotten one, or pull one get one. So all those things are here. So it's a new one, and I'll be cautiously pessimistic. I'm not going to be optimistic about it. I still believe. I'm not buying it. I think it's not going to be good, but we'll see. If it's a 20x, okay, maybe we're talking. If it's I think they need to overhaul. Honestly, for me, I think the 10x would be fine if the 10x I got to pick the champion, kind of like the wish list, and it had a pity system in it. So if I wanted Siphi as a void, every time a void shard pulled and it wasn't Siphi, it incrementally added to the percentage chance that if I pulled a legendary, it would be Siphi. And it could be a slow clock. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with it taking months and months. It's taken 3 years and I don't have one now. So if it took 6 months to get one, I'd be okay. And you could still pull other legendaries in there and other things could happen. But at least you knew there was that one champion you wanted above all else that would have an opportunity. And they're not going to do that. I know that. But that to me would be the only answer that I would be truly accepting of. And it's the only answer that they're not going to give. So let's move to the next one. Live arena, friendly fights, and tournaments. This is a good one.
The next topic, which is the newest content to the game, and that is Live Arena. Look at that meme. How Platinum thinks that we're going to draft for Live Arena, and lots of calculations in their lines, and we're all going crazy. But then you know what's happening? Banter us, and it's game over. It does feel a bit like that though at the moment. It felt actually before.
Yeah, right.
It felt before you guys revamped it a bit and you allowed people to climb easier. It felt a bit like that. I feel like
I disagree, Scratch.
Since that changed, it's not the case anymore. Like gold, you're not able to use dupes. Somebody might use it. You're still
there's like 100 people in gold. So for the other, every single one of us, we still can have dupes. There's still dual terrace. I actually held off playing Live Arena for a week to just let the terrace troop move on, and I'm still getting doubled. I'm getting Marisha 2 Tarask, and I'm getting at least 1 Tarask or Terrace. I'm getting at least 1 as an opponent in 3 out of 10 fights, and I usually win 1 out of 2 of those, if that. 0.5. So no, it's not better. It's not better. It's still bad. The system is still revamped. The problem I have with Live Arena is that I'm essentially using the same 7 champions. Not because I don't like trying, but if I try, I lose. Because the meta is so locked into a team that you have to have that team, especially seeing I don't have some of the options like Marichka, like Tross, like Siffy, like Necrit. So that even limits my pool even smaller. And the reality is I have a very few different options I can do to be able to play it, and so I still play it, but I think that there needs to be a major overhaul here, which there won't be until it's too late.
We're gonna ban him maybe, but he's definitely feeling much better at the pace of progressing through Live Arena now. Yeah, and here as well I have a few questions actually. This is still a young game mode, right? There are a few concerns, mainly in terms of
very young.
Yeah, a very young game mode. Sorry, and in terms of rewards and how competitive will the game mode become actually. I know how I mentioned we're still climbing. We haven't reached the top of Live Arena, so it might take a couple of months. But once you get Quintus, I don't think that the rewards will be that great. Like just getting the chest that drops gear and of course the Great Hall every 35 fights is not that amazing all around. Not something that will create the incentive to go and compete in Live Arena. Are you guys planning to do something similar like in Classic Arena where we have a weekly reset and add some new rewards to create an incentive for players to compete? And that's down the line, of course, in the near future.
So as for, I'll just try to address them one by one.
Yeah.
So we will be adding a Live Arena tournament, and this is a teaser of a big feature coming up. Like it's not a feature, but it's like a sub feature to the big feature. So the Live Arena tournament is coming up very soon, which will yield more freebies, of course. And then we do think that in terms of rewards, area bonuses and chests are more than enough for now. And the possibility of the PvP is, again, motivation enough. You fight for the sake of, winning and show.
Let me stop you right there. So many players are frustrated with this game mode right now. When the dust settles, maybe, but I don't think that it is for the grander player base, for the many. I don't think it's enough of a motivation to say, oh, just showing off your team, because you're showing off your wallet in this mode. Look at he's got to fight. Look at this team so far. Let's move forward and show the Scratch versus the enemy team. Scratch, 6-star Warlord, 5-star Arbiter, 3-star +1 Siffy, +4 Warlord, +1 Rotos, that's a 3-star, and I don't know if he had a plus on the Harima, which is a 5-star. Can I see her down here? No, I can't. So against Marichka, Taurus, look at the 6, 5, 5, 4, 2. You have Georgie at a 5-star, +1. Like this is both of these players, and no offense to Scratch, but he's a spender. I'm a spender, and so is Ogai, obviously. And it's a double spend because he spent on a ton of shards to get all these champions. Then he spent on a ton of soul stones to get all these blessings. This isn't random. This isn't like, oh, look at my good luck. This is, hey, look how much I had to spend to get these. And it's sad. It's unfortunate because that's such a wrong answer. You need better motivation here. You need to be able to have fun. And thankfully on the back half, I think they talk about a little bit of fun here. So let's move forward. But it's just frustrating that that's the mindset is, oh yeah, the reward is just showing off how good you are.
That's what we want, honestly. And Then we have another small question about the time limit, the 30 minutes limit for
It's too long.
Recently released. So you see, we have players from all over the world with all kinds of time zones.
in addition to the tournaments that you just mentioned.
Did you just say you have players all around the world with all different time zones, but in Classic Arena, you've never changed it from the 2 to 4 a.m. that I have to go to be able to compete in Platinum Arena? Shame.
For the near future or anything like this related to Live Arena.
Yeah, we've been observing what our players are saying about the Live Arena and their requests. So we are also thinking about friendly fights and adding the platinum tier to the Live Arena. And while the tournaments are already like almost out of the oven, fresh out
you
of
can
the
say
oven,
that they're baked.
the rest, the other two are still being we're still looking at the concept.
Awesome. I mean, a friends list would be amazing. Like
Friendlies. The ability to run tournaments by being able to challenge. That is the best news I've heard in this whole one so far. I'm good with the energy. I just think it was a bit of a shame, but I'll do a recap later. But anyway, that sounds good to me. Now, challenging content for early mid game. I'll get a pass over this one. This was just basically because they unlock stuff a little soon. Really, what they're saying is, look, whales can whale at any time. Why would we limit them? And I agree with that 100%. If you can't do content, you don't have to do the content because it's unlocked. The only thing I disagree with is that Sun Devil's Necropolis, they do have Ascension in the advanced quests pretty early. But at the same time, you can probably do the first several levels and just get enough to do a 5-star boot, which is 45 oil. So even then, it's not that bad. I don't think that this is something I'm concerned about. Ascension artifact rerolls, they are
newcomers to the game. And look at the meme right here. We have our boy Smith smacking my best artifact, so that's pretty much what we're talking about here. Artifact, ascension, value preservation. So yeah, this was actually an interesting meme to see live in action. It became probably one of the biggest memes in the world right now, I think. Isn't it? It went crazy.
But Smith did suffer quite a bit after doing that, even though I understand his motives. But
I don't understand his motives. Yeah. Dude assaulted another dude and live on TV.
It's quite a scandalous story.
I know. I think we need to learn a lesson from here. Think twice. I mean, think and act after, not act and think after. I think is a good thing to keep in mind. So the main idea here with Artifact Ascension, and this will bring us back to the Sun Devil's Necropolis, is about the preservation of valuable artifacts on people's accounts, right? So we spent years of farming, and then Ascension came in, and you can easily snap your fingers, and if you get unlucky with the Ascension, basically you lose the value of your artifacts. They're not as powerful because they're not getting the God mode roll anymore, Are you guys planning to introduce a reroll system for the Ascension or something that will allow players to better preserve the value of their artifacts?
Yeah, while we are 100% on with you on the fact that it may cause a lot of frustration when an artifact, when the Ascension doesn't go the way you would want it to be, you would want it to go, and we'd understand where this desperation comes from. But we don't really agree that the artifact is ruined after being ascended.
We've used that word a lot. I know, I think ruined is not the best description for it. I've used that a couple of times, and I tried to explain it.
Word picking.
Yeah, but I think it's just not the right word to describe the whole process,
Yeah, we.
Okay, so the problem here isn't that it's ruined. It's that a subpar artifact that rolls, say, crit damage gloves. Say I get crit damage gloves and it's on my Rotos and I get flat stat defense. 80 defense at max ascension does nothing for me for my Rotos. So that is still a good glove, but a mediocre glove that gets 20% crit damage is a better glove. So I went and I farmed tens of thousands for the Savage crit damage glove that I have on Rotos, and now in one stroke, some subpar took me 1,000 energy to get it is technically better because it rolled HP percent or attack percent or crit damage or even crit rate. And I think that's the point, is that the flat stat on the bottom row completely changes, like it changes the scaling. Now, I think it's a bit of a meme. You can still use the sets. It still gives you a chance. See, we all think of the worst case scenario, and I'm so guilty of it, of my best gloves going flat stat and being meh. But the reality is, it can go the other way. You can get mid-tier gear that you roll that quick crit damage, and I have a ton of it on my account, where that becomes really good because it got that. So you can play it both ways. The reality is 20% extra crit damage is great on mediocre gloves. It makes them great gloves, which overall raises the total of your stats. So I think Cirilla's got the right one here. But they are talking about the reroll. They're considering it. So you can watch that. But she says essentially it's something they're going to look into and they may bring in. I think that'd be a no-brainer, having a type of Chaosaur to reroll that. I really wish they'd stop limiting it to one, but I guess they want us to keep farming and keep going. It just hurts. To me, the only place it really hurts is a place where I cannot get that gear as regularly. Like, I can go in and I can spend a ton of energy in Fire Knight and I can get more Savage gear, right? And I get three or four, I will say 2 pieces per 100 runs that are legitimately let's roll and find out. And maybe one of those pieces stays. So it's tough, but it's doable. The Dark Fae, which you see in the background, if that piece is ruined, that piece is ruined. I got to wait 3 months, and you don't get a whole lot of good gear when you roll. Like this run, I did every Dark Fae. I waited on the secret rooms. I used all the secret rooms once I could farm the top Fae, the room level 120 Fae. I did every time I did normal, I went back to this Fae every day, all my keys, I put everything into Fae, and I got about 10 pieces of mid-tier gear that I can use for Faction Wars champions, for champions that I need Savage, but I don't need it in Arena. And I got not one stat improvement on any of my top 10 champions that I need better gear for. Like, I want to improve, like Rhodos, like Candrafon, that sort of thing. So, and can you imagine you finally get that piece and it flat stats it? It is a bit rough. So I do get the sentiment, but at the end of the day, I think the fact that you can easily farm more gear and you can make average gear go good, and there's a lot of things people do. Like, people will roll the gear, will roll the first ascension point before they even roll the gear. You know, you take it to 12, a crit damage you take to 12. It's got some decent stats. Roll it with one piece of your oil, see if it's going to land what you want. And then if it isn't, move on. If it is, then keep going. I think you can do that. So there's other ways you can do. So I'm okay with this. The next one, time issue.
At the last,
I won't play. We're getting on to 28 minutes. And the whole thing's only 4. I'm talking as much as they are. There's still a lot to be said about this that is good that they don't talk about. But they do say that instant battles will probably be in the clan boss at some point soon-ish. That'll allow you to instantly, once you have established a 1 key in that, I'm guessing for each affinity, then you'll just be able to instantly do a key, and that's going to be nice, because that's a 20-minute time sink. That said, I will say the only asterisk to that is that that's not where my problem is. I usually do my clan boss keys while I'm watching TV, spending time chatting with my girlfriend on Discord or whatever messenger. So it's more like that's passive time. It doesn't really matter. I do that at the end, right? Where my battle times do take a lot of time that are a time sink is Faction Wars, because I'm doing it in the middle of my dailies. Doing seven runs in campaign, doing, you know, those sort of things are where the time sink is. And really 3v3 arena is probably the biggest time sink. So that's what I think needs to be fixed for time. But at least they're actually addressing this and not just sticking their head in the sand. They realize it. So that's nice. And then the final thing is the upcoming content tease. There's going to be a PvE thing coming. I'm not going to ruin that for you. You should watch this yourself. All right, let's wrap it. There's the final piece, that content tease. I'll let you watch that yourself. But let's talk about all the different things that they talked about, and I'll give my total thought. I'm not going to lie, at the beginning of this whole thing, I was getting really irritable, especially the first time I watched it, but it started getting a little bit better. And I think not everything was bad news. I think some of the things were just a little bit tone deaf, but not necessarily bad. I mean, so we'll talk about that and we'll go through. So the first thing they talked about was the energy cap and consumption. Basically, they said, no, we'd rather give you energy than raise the cap. I think that's a bit disingenuous, but overall, when you really think about it, you do get a lot of energy in this game. I think that if you're playing efficiently, you get more than enough energy in this game. And if you are being efficient and there's going to be times when you're going to have more than the cap of energy, and an extra 50 ain't going to make that happen. The flip side of that is that I don't think adding 50 to the energy cap will change much for their bottom line, but it will change a lot for those who are willing to micromanage and to be very efficient in their accounts. And I think it's high time they do it. You only get 6 runs in, right? In most content now, before you run out of energy. They can up that. And it like I said, it's pretty disingenuous to say, oh, we'd rather do this. Do both. It's energy. Energy is the cheapest coefficient in, well, silver, I guess. But energy is very cheap. It's you have it in value packs. You give a lot of it. You say it yourself. Why not just up it? The next up was the Iron Twins. I think this is, like I said, this is the heart of my issue. And I think it's very disingenuous. My end on this is, hey, Iron Twins is the feature dungeon for that content, for that resource. That's where you should get the most. And right now you get more from Hydra than you do from it. And the rates are wonky. The wish list is a joke. You have to buy to get anything, and I don't like it. That one's the one that really ticks me off. And then the next thing we talked about was the summoning rates from shards and 10x. This is another one. They said that they have a couple other things going through. I'll believe it when I see it. It has to be major impactful for it to really sink in with me, but we'll see. There's a cautious, at least it'll be better than nothing. So even if it's not exactly what we want to see, if it's better than it is now, that's a step in the right direction. Live Arena. The one thing that really got me is that the whole thought that the reward for Live Arena is being able to beat other people. That's not true. The reward for Live Arena is the bonus stats. So I don't think they need to change rewards because the bonus stats are there. And when you're in the higher levels, you'll probably get better gear, right? And over time, that gear will actually improve. This gear, I think, so far looks like it's better than the Classic Arena gear, which also, by the way, those chests we get for free, I've gotten way better gear out of just the first, month of that, or if that, the first couple of weeks or even 1 week. I've already gotten more better gear than I have gotten my entire time playing this game. So that's kind of funny. I've doubled the amount of actual keeper gear in just that short time, which is neither here nor there. But so I don't think there needs to be more reward at all. I think we're fine, but I do think it's disingenuous to say that the only reason to play is to show off, because it's to show off if you're a whale. So it's not really. I don't feel that was true. And I do like the fact that they're looking at friendly fights. I think that'll be fun. We'll be able to do a ton of stuff with that. So I'm really hopefully looking forward to that being a thing. And then we have the challenging content for early mid game. I don't think this is one I don't think is a thing. If it's open and you can't do it, move on. That's the same as any game. If you're in Diablo 4 and you can move to the next tier of difficulty, and then you go in there and you get one shot, well, then you're not ready for it. Get back. That's just how the game goes. I don't think that's a big deal. Artifact Ascension reroll and value preservation. At first, I really hated the Artifact Ascension because you get a flat stat on your best artifact and then it's ruined. But it's not ruined. It's still a great artifact. A lot of people have said this to me, and now that I've had a chance to take a deep breath, it is true. And the reality is, for every high-end item you have that gets ruined, there's an average item you have that becomes great. So, you have some maybe it flat stat rolled, so it's got 1 speed, 1 attack, and a flat stat, so it's not great. But then you get 20% extra crit damage on those crit damage gloves, for example, and then it's great. Then it's amazing. right? You know what shows the sneaky one that I don't think enough people realize? 60% crit rate with 20% crit damage. I can get as high or higher total crit damage than I can with my crit damage gloves that I have. So just that ability to add that 20% crit damage to crit rate gloves, along with the fact that when you have 60% crit rate, you're almost all the way there and you get one more item and you're pretty much at capped. It's great because I have a lot. It's weird. I have a lot more quad and triple roll crit damage than quad or triple roll crit rate. If I don't think I have any quad crit rate, so just a FYI. So I think it balanced itself out a lot more than I thought it would. So it is frustrating. I will say it is. You'll see if you look at my gear. There's a ton of gear with just one, because I'm not going to fully roll it up if it doesn't get me what I need. But I don't think it's. I think it's a lot more balanced than probably it feels. Maybe the end game players who are like, well, this is but you know what? You're just going to spend more money and farm more anyway. And then the last one was time issue in instant battles. And of course, the fact that they said they were looking at the clan boss, instant battles on the clan boss should be a feature this year. That sounded good. It's not the worst for me, but it's a start. So I'm going to say that's a win for us. And then the special content, you can talk for yourself. Now, the last thing I wanted to talk about before we wrap this video up...
that,
sorry, I clicked the button by accident. The last thing I wanted to talk about, I did have a video made this morning, and I scrapped it because I saw this, and I wanted to react to this instead. And I'll just say the gist of that whole video was I'm going no spend. And this video doesn't change that decision. I think no spend is the right thing to do in this game right now for me. I'm not saying you have to. I'm doing it for me. And the reason why I'm doing it is because I am getting increasingly frustrated to the point where I'm no longer interested in putting money into a game that doesn't reward the finance. It takes my money and it doesn't pay off. There's not a percentage payoff. There's not a chance to pay off. You know, I think of a casino, and I go into a casino and I put $100 into the slot machines. And I may lose that $100. And frankly, I go into the casino knowing that 100 is gone. Every once in a while, I win. But I have fun. You know, you can get on these rolls where it goes up and down and you're sticking around that 100. You lose down to 50, then you're back up to 100. Then you go to 150 and then you grow. You can do that. This game doesn't have that for me. It doesn't have that fun. It takes my 100 and it slaps me in the face. It tells me to like it. And then it tells me that nothing's wrong. And okay, well, there is something wrong. I'm not having fun with that level. So I'm not spending money in the game. What will take me to spend money in this game again will be a serious overhaul in both the Soulstone and the Shard opening rates. A serious overhaul. What I would like to see is that the wish list in the Soulstones have a pity on them, incremental, that over time with all the Soulstones you open, it adds the percentage until you get one. And then it will always be higher than its previous. So if I put a 5-star there, it'll tick, 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 tick. And over time, that could be 6 months. I don't care about the time. But I know that over time, eventually I will get that 6-star on that champion. And maybe that's too much, but at least up the rates on those things. And we need more Soulstones. I don't care. You said we don't. We do. It needs to be about double from the only the content that was created in the game to give you Soulstones should give you the most Soulstones. And it doesn't. And it should be double. Absolutely. I'm done. I'm done with that. You say it isn't, so we're at this impasse, right? But it's my money, and I'm not going to give it to you until you say I'm right. So, haha, Plarium. Also, I want to see a pity system in shards where I can attune a player to a shard, and that player becomes my 10x. And it incrementally improves the chance and odds until I pull it, and then it resets to 0 and wipes it off. Now I can re-put that one in there. Maybe I want a +4 roto, so I keep using that one. And it should be over a long period of time. I'm not saying it should be a month. It should be 3 months, 6 months. Depends how many shards you open. It should be a lot of shards. But there should be this goal, just like the casino, up and down, up and down. But I know at some point I'm going to get a big enough win that I'm going to feel good about it. Even if I know on the back end I spent more money than it was worth over the last month to get there. But at the end, I played that one day and I got that $1,000 voucher out of the slot machine. That's the kind of feeling that I want. And right now we don't have that. And that's what I would like to see. And I'd like to see you be able to attach something to ancients, something to voids, and something to sacreds, and have that pity system, even if it is, like I said, over a pretty extended period of time. So those are my thoughts on it. I don't know. They'll never do that, I know. But regardless of what it is they do, they have to do something serious, and they have to do something pretty big to overhaul. And until then, I'm not going to spend in the game. It just doesn't feel worth it to me. So, I mean, and I know there'll be comments down below, boohoo, whatever. People are always like to crap on spenders when they decide not to spend. You can't win. You're crapped on when you spend. You're crapped on when you don't spend. You're crapped on when you say, I don't want to spend anymore. You're a whiner. You're out of touch and all that stuff. Like I don't know what a free-to-play player is like, because I haven't had 5 free-to-play accounts so far in my life. But that's my decision, and that's what I'm going to go with, and we're not going to spend. I might start a free-to-play account and put it on here. Depends on my content. I still have a lot of stuff I want and need to do with my main account. So I'm not going to jump to the free-to-play yet. But at some point I might. I've never thought that they were a big draw for views, but I mean, they're at least daily content that I can put out. So anyway, that's my thoughts. What are your thoughts on the video? I assume everyone's going to think mixed bag, but what are your thoughts with the future raid and where they're going with it? Let me know in the comments down below. Please watch Ash's and my video. I thought we had a really good time, and you learn a lot about Ash and kind of all the different things he does, not just in raid, but in life. And then we talk a little bit about arena and 3v3 and our strategies kind of going into those type of battles. And of course, we're going to have a collab on his channel that was preempted today, but it might be tonight, it might be tomorrow, where we talk about some cool stuff there. So check that out as well when it shows up on Ash's channel. But most importantly, I want to thank you for watching this video if you made it this far. And please be kind, be safe. We'll see you in the next video.